Verses 36 and 37. Sukham tvidanim trividam shrinu me bharatarshaba abhyasadramate yatra dukhantam cha nigachati yad tadagri vishamiva pariname mritopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. O best of the Bharat dynasty, now hear from me about the three types of happiness. Happiness that leads to the end of all suffering is in the mode of goodness. Such happiness tastes bitter in the beginning, but is nectar at the end, because it awakens one to self-realization. Verse 38. Vishayendriya samyoga yatadagri mritopamam parinami vishamiva tatsukam rajasam smritam. Happiness that is born from contact between the senses and sense objects, and is like nectar in the beginning, but bitter in the end, is known to be in the mode of passion. Verse 39. Yadagri chanubandi cha sukha mohanam atmanaha nidralasya pramadotam tatamasamudatritam. Happiness that arises from sleep, laziness, and delusion, and is self-deceptive in both the beginning and the end, is considered to be happiness in the mode of ignorance. Verse 40. Natadasti pradityam va divideveshu va punaha sattvam prakriti dharmuktam yadevi shatribir gunai. There is no living being, neither on earth nor amongst the celestial beings, that is free from these three modes of material nature. Anubriti by Srila Guru Maharaj. Everyone and everything in the material world is governed by the three modes of material nature. In the truest sense of the word, there is no meaning of freedom or independence unless one is free from the modes of nature. All such celebrations in the name of political emancipation are merely another form of self-deception. Where is the question of freedom when our every action is controlled by nature and we are being pushed down the highway of life to face ultimate death? Independence from the three modes of material nature is only afforded to those who have taken shelter of a bona fide guru, who have understood the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and have applied themselves to Bhakti Yoga. Only the Bhakti Yogi can truly celebrate freedom. Sri Krishna says that happiness in the mode of goodness is bitter in the beginning, but nectar in the end. This means that to control the senses and perform austerities, tapasya, in the beginning may be distasteful for the novice, but in the end, such austerities lead to the nectar of self-realization. Happiness derived from enjoying one's senses in the mode of passion may be like nectar in the beginning, but it is bitter in the end because sense gratification ultimately ends in frustration, hatred, and anger. Happiness that arises from sleep, laziness, and delusion, and is self-deceptive, is in the mode of ignorance, because it is miserable in the beginning and miserable in the end. Real happiness only comes when one awakens to the eternal self and lives a life with one's body, mind, and senses absorbed in a higher conscious plane. We'll add a note here. So we can see in the material world, material activities, many times they begin very, very pleasurable. Just like the relationship between the boy and the girl. In the beginning, it's all roses, peaches, and cream. But gradually, as one's senses are not satisfied by the person that we've placed our affection on, we may become frustrated. And sometimes these relationships end up very, very bitter with people hating each other. So this is generally the rule in material life. It may be sweet in the beginning, but it becomes tiresome, just like the hit song. In the beginning, it's so sweet, but after a while, you get tired of hearing it because they're playing it everywhere, and you don't want to hear it anymore. But those activities in Krishna consciousness, they may be very, very bitter in the beginning, like the austerity of getting up early in the morning. The Bhakti Yogis like to rise early in the morning, an hour or hour and a half before the sun rises, because at that time is the most peaceful time of day It's the most auspicious time of day, and is considered to be the best time to engage in spiritual practices. In the beginning, for one who is very attached to sleep, it's very, very difficult to perform that particular tapasya, that particular austerity. But gradually, as time goes by, one begins to actually relish that time of day. And for the real bhakti yogi, if he misses getting up in the morning due to circumstances, he feels that something of the day is lost. What was once an austerity has now become something that is looked forward to, and it's not seen as an austerity at all. Verse 41. Brahmana satriya visham sudranam cha parantapa karmani prabhibhaktani svabhava prabhaver gunai. O conqueror of the enemy, O Arjuna, know that Brahmins, Satriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are classified according to the quality of their work in the three modes of material nature. Verse 42. Shamodamastapashocham shantirarjavam evacha Gyanam viganam astikyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Calmness, self-control, austerity, cleanliness, clemency, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and faith in the Supreme. These are the natural activities of a Brahmin. Verse 43. Shuryam teho dhritir daksham yudi chapya palayanam Dhanam ishvara bhavascha shatram karma svabhavajam. Heroism, power, steadfastness, dexterity, never fleeing from battle, generosity, and social administration. These are the natural activities of a Satriya. Verse 44. Krishigo rakshavanijam vaishya karma svabhavajam paricharyatmakam karma shudrashapi svabhavajam. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural activities of a Vaishya. For the Sudra, there is service to others. Anuriti by Srila Guru Maharaj. Herein the status of the Brahmins, Satriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are described according to the qualities of their work. These are the four social orders of life, and they are present in all civilized cultures in the world. Everywhere we find those that resemble the Brahmins, the intellectual class. Everywhere are those that resemble Satriyas, administrators and warriors. And everywhere we find the mercantile and labor class, the Vaishyas and Sudras. These are the natural divisions in society, and they are determined by the quality of their work. Unfortunately, in modern India, this social system described by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has become corrupted and is now known as the caste system, which determines one's social status by birth. The caste system is not actually the social system described in Bhagavad Gita, known as Varnashram Dharma. The caste system in India is certainly deplorable, hardly better than that of slavery, because it limits a person's potential according to one's birth. Krishna clearly states that a person is to be known by his actions and not his pedigree. Although social systems having intellectuals, administrators, mercantile, and labor classes are found around the world, they are also not the same as the Varnashram system mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. In addition to being an intellectual, a Brahmin must know what is Brahman. A Satriya must do more than just administrate and fight battles. He must be above corruption, give protection to the people, and protect the principles of Dharma found in Bhagavad Gita. And above all, a Satriya is never to be an aggressor. He is never to invade a sovereign country. The duty of a Vaishya, in addition to business, is farming and cow protection. Naturally, the purpose of business is to earn a living, but nowadays this has gone far beyond actual necessity, as per the advice of Bhagavad Gita. Simple business has turned into massive industry, the establishing of mega multinational corporations, money hoarding, and fractional banking. These in turn have led to the corruption of government officials worldwide and ultimately to the destruction of the environment, increased poverty, and war. Cow protection, Krishi Goraksha, is especially mentioned in verse 44 because of all animals, it is the cow that is most necessary for the survival of the human being. Human bodies thrive on animal fat, and the cow is the animal that provides human beings with the most milk, yogurt, butter, cheese, etc. Milk and milk products, when taken in appropriate quantities, provide the human being all the necessary fat required for healthy living, thus enabling the suspension of animal slaughter. In other words, killing animals and eating meat is not necessary to obtain fat. When cows are protected, then there will be plenty of whole milk available for everyone to maintain a healthy diet. The value of the cow for human society is undisputable, and therefore in Vedic culture, the cow is considered one of the 7 natural mothers. These 7 mothers are as follows: Atma Mata, Guru Patni, Brahmani Raja Patnika, Danur, Datri, Tata, Prithvi, Saptaita, Matara, Smritaha. One's own mother, the wife of the guru, the wife of a Brahmin, the king's wife, the cow, the nurse, and the earth. These should be considered as our 7 mothers. That was from the Chanakya Niti Shastra. Unfortunately, the business community has turned to corporate farming and mass slaughter of cows and other animals in the name of delivering health and prosperity to the people. In actuality, the people have lost their lands, and the family farm that was once the backbone of societies everywhere has ceased to exist. Industrial farming has replaced organic fertilizers with chemical fertilizers that render the soil lifeless and produce food that is low in nutrition and high in toxic content. The meat from the slaughterhouse is also toxic and far less healthy than a vegetarian diet. Society cries for the return of the Vaishya worldwide, but governments turn a deaf ear and a blind eye, and it is the Shudra, the laborer class, at the tail end of the food chain who suffers the most. But change is in the air as people worldwide wake up from the nightmare that has become their reality and seek genuine answers to their problems. For such sincere persons, Bhagavad Gita will provide much insight and guidance.